How goes it, guys? Welcome to our way too early fantasy football reports episode. um, if you caught us a couple weeks ago, we had our draft, our super early dynasty draft. I think that's pretty intense, but it's also pretty cool because it gives you a chance to like work around and play with it. But anyway, back into it. Welcome to our way too early fantasy reports, back for season 3, y'all.
Yeah,
It's your
boy.
boy. Yeah. It's your boy said coming here with Shawnee. What's up, Shawnee?
What up, y'all? Yo, it's great to be back. Another fantasy season. I know everybody is just as excited as I am. Like said, man, we just got done with the rookie draft. We all and waited and waited for the draft. The draft happened, and then we gave ourselves a couple weeks to get our stuff together, and we had a pretty sweet rookie draft. It went crazy, nothing like I expected. Um, but we got a lot to get into for you guys. We're gonna go over, rookies, where they drafted, the teams
All
that
the
they're
rookies.
on, and how they're gonna do, with the teams that they're on. And not only that, we're also gonna get into some of the veterans that are more fantasy relevant and very helpful to your rosters that have switched teams that I still think are going to be relevant for you. And I think we're going to get into a little bit of ADP stuff, their PFF, where people are being drafted, and whether or not I think that that draft spot's appropriate, or if you can save it for another round and grab a QB later, or we'll get into a little bit of everything. But this is just a show to break it in, man. We're breaking in new shoes. We're
Yep,
starting a
yep.
new season, and yeah, Sed and I are just going to kind of bounce back and forth, give some opinions, and if it helps you guys, with your draft or getting a roster together, or with trades in a already keeper league, anything we can do to help. Hope maybe we get some people to get on here, chat with us, chime in. We love that. So with
Yes,
that,
yes. Yes, like Shawnee said, actually, yeah, we're getting into, bigger and better things around here as well, coming up on our third season, we're hoping to bring way more information. I know we're going to have, a couple other people on here bringing, some exciting info, and Shawnee's going to bring it every week as he always has. So, feel free and, to follow, like, subscribe, find us on Shady Sports Network on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, on all the social media networks. And we actually have sponsors this year. We actually have a commercial made. So I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way. Cash App is one of our sponsors. So if you don't use them, use the code. I think you get, a few bucks or something if you use the code. So let me go ahead and play this really quick, Shawnee, and then we'll get right into it.
stay tuned.
How are you? Bring them things, bring them things. I call the plug, bring them things. I bring them things.
That's money. That's cash out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like I said, shadysportsnetwork.com. You can find everything on there that we cover. Arena league football, indoor football, other, professional leagues, as well as right here on Fantasy Reports, the NFL Fantasy League. So right back to it. I'm Cedric. We got Shawnee, and this is Shady Sports Fantasy Reports. And I'll go ahead and turn it over. I think we're going to talk about, you said, the wide receivers and running backs first.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the wide receivers and running backs that have made a switch in teams. What I think the chemistry is going to be like. Some of these guys got rookie quarterbacks now, or a better quarterback. They're in better situations. And some of these guys, like, I'll just get right into it, man. Like, we got Deontay Johnson. He's a fantasy relevant guy. He's got sure hands. He's always an end zone target in Pittsburgh. And now he's moved over to Carolina. I think that he could do well there, but it's going to take me a couple weeks of sample size to see what his target share looks like and how that scheme comes together. Another one that kind of concerns me, especially since he's on my roster, but I have a good feeling about watching Stephon Diggs and all the stuff that he went through in Buffalo over all these years. And I know that Buffalo's probably thrilled with what they got, but Diggs going over to Houston was kind of surprising to me because he wants to be that guy, that number one. And they only signed him for 1 year. And then right after that, about a week ago, I watched them sign Nico Collins to,
They just
I
paid
think,
him like the number one. My
yeah,
bad.
exactly. I think it was like what, 72 mil for what, 2 or 4 years? Yeah. So, and I mean, not just Collins, but man, you got Tank Dell, you got Noah Brown, there's so many mouths to feed in Houston now. It's crazy. And yeah, I think they're poised to do really well, but I think that fantasy relevance is going to be affected due to the fact that, it just depends on who's going to get these targets. Now, I have a feeling that Diggs is going to be a big part of this receiving core, and he's going to go in and make a difference, and he's going to have some relevance. But as of right now, Diggs went from a wide receiver one to a wide receiver two, maybe three. And as the season goes along, he may fall down to a flex play. But that just goes to say the man is talented, but he's not getting any younger. His attitude always comes into effect. And I mean, if I were a receiver in the NFL, I wouldn't be mad at having C.J. Stroud as my quarterback. I'll say that.
It's a contract season for him too, though. So it's make or break it. Like you said, he signed to a 1 year.
Yep.
Whether he signs with them or goes somewhere else, I mean, this is the time for him to prove it as well. And I feel like I don't know. It's Stephon Diggs. How can you not see him as a wide receiver one? Regardless, Nico Collins was hurt. What, like a few games out? The last half of the
Dell,
season.
Dell
Tank
was
Dell.
as
Well, Tank
well.
Dell was out almost the whole season. So
Yeah.
there's a reason he was. I'm sure. It wasn't just like, oh, we're trading you to the Texans or however it went down. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah. No, I'm sure he was stoked to go. Yeah, exactly. So that's why, and like I said, I nicknamed him on my team the feeling because he's the feeling I have this season as far as wide receiver goes that moved to a different team that, everyone's talking about he got too many mouths to feed, he's too much to deal with. I think that he's going to have that spectacular season. But like I said, as of right now, it's too early to tell. We got no sample size. We got a couple weeks. We got, we're all going to get something in preseason. Hopefully they'll get at least a couple series, couple snaps, and then, first couple of the weeks of the season will definitely tell us what's going on.
right.
And then, I got, man, leaving Denver and going over to Cleveland is Jerry Jeudy, and that's another wide receiver that, coming out of the draft and coming into the NFL was supposed to be, this phenomenal wide receiver that, was going to be an all-star, definite future Hall of Famer. And he had trouble finding his feet. He had trouble, with, chemistry, quarterback situation in Denver. I mean, lots of went down. So another make it or break it, guy who was, just signed to see, what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Cleveland is poised to have a receiver like him that can be a difference maker. I think that him, you know, alongside of what they got there in Cleveland is a good addition and
Yeah, but
one to watch.
what's different though? I feel like he just literally walked right back into the same situation. He's stepping into an orange jersey with the quarterback who's trying to prove himself coming off injury, trying to prove that he's better than what he was, and he's
Yeah.
still not the number one receiver.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the only difference could be playbook and chemistry. And
Coaching.
that's what you got to hope for. You got to hope that he falls into the scheme somewhere and the coaches know what they want from him and he's going to be that guy to fill those shoes. And I know that he wants to prove himself and everybody around here, you might have your opinion about the guy, but he's one hell of an athlete. He's a phenomenal wide receiver. He's got great hands. He's always a deep threat. I mean, he's faster than hell still.
Yeah,
So
but how many? Not to side. Well, I'll wait. I'll wait.
no, go.
I'll wait
That's
till we
what
get to
we're
the
doing this
rookies.
for.
Well, I was gonna say, because I heard something I was listening to the fan the other day, out here, and well, duh, you're out here, but they were saying how like I forget what they said, how many receivers were drafted, but it was a large number of receivers. I mean, heck, we saw Marvin Harrison went what, like number 3, number 4, but
Yeah.
they were saying comparing that to like Justin Jefferson, getting what did he get, like 140 million.
for
100,
4 years. 4 years,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, man. Like people, like I feel like players like Jerry Judy, even Stephon Diggs, like those fringe receivers, Cooper Kupp, those guys that were like,
Yeah.
high fantasy value players, like they're gonna get shuffled around.
Well, yeah, and that's why this is like make it or break it time for them. That's why it's like they really got to buckle down and they really got to show these guys that they're here to stay because this class that just came up in this draft is a handful to a baker's dozen of really, really talented guys from the quarterback position to the wide receiver position, the tight end position,
Hmm.
defensively. Running backs were a little shy, and I think that's why a lot of people scrambled to get their running back talent from around the league still.
Hmm.
Um, and we're about to go over that. But I mean, there's still some viable running back rookies that are worth, rostering
Hmm.
as we saw.
Not so many tight ends though. I feel like.
No, no, no. But I mean, there's a couple standout that are gonna immediately make a difference, I feel like. And I mean,
Yeah.
we can get into that right now. I mean, it was Vegas that picked up Bowers, and it's not surprising to me, even though they needed talent elsewhere, they needed a running back getting rid of, but the fact that Bowers was still on the board when it got to them, I just think that they had to go with it.
Hmm.
Everybody thought last season that Michael Mayer was going to be the guy, and he was going to make a difference. And he came in and he did some things. I mean, he was there, he did. But
But who
now
was
that
their
Bowers,
quarterback? They didn't
I
have a
mean,
quarterback though.
no, I mean, what do they bounce between Aiden O'Connell and
And
Gardner
Jimmy
Minshew?
Garoppolo.
Oh, and Jimmy G got hurt, right?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
some
So,
whatever,
well, I
something
mean,
that he
the
does.
QB and now the QB situation is the same, but you add Gardner Minshew. So, I mean, and that's the other thing is that
Hmm.
I was going to draft Bowers because I'm hurting at the tight end position. And the one reason that I didn't is because of the quarterback situation in Vegas right now. So I still, and it's so funny, man. I don't know what it is, but I still call them Oakland.
They'll be
I
Oakland
can't,
for a while. It's
I
like the
can't get
Rams.
Vegas. I can't get Vegas, I just can't get it in there, But
Hmm.
I do think that, I think now they're going to have some plays for him, and I think that they're going to have a lot to do for him. And I think that if he falls into that scheme, it's going to work out really well for him. That man is a tank. His yards after catch, the fact that his catch percentage is what it is, sure hands, he's a great blocker. I mean, there is just no doubt to me that this man can go in there and make a difference on that offense. And the fact that the quarterback situation, any offense that you see a quarterback struggling, what position on that offense is the guy that can come in here and bail them out?
The tight
It's the
end that
t-
can line up everywhere.
it's the tight end position.
Hmm.
And so having him on there only improves their chances of doing well in that offensive scheme. And not only that, that they use him the way that they need to in the red zone, I think he can be a touchdown vulture. So, I mean, he's definitely one to keep up on. And while we're talking about tight ends, I also want to talk about the fact that I'm looking at all these ADPs and these PFS, and they still have Kelsey and Andrews going one. Give me Sam Laporta all day long. Sam Laporta is my number one tight end to draft over Kelsey, over Andrews. Of course, they're going to be second and third, but that's just who I want to see, you guys with the opportunity to pick them up. I think he's going to be the highest point scoring tight end this season is going to be Sammy. So that's just something I wanted to touch on because I've been seeing so much talk about, oh, well, Kelsey's going to do a repeater. And he did have an amazing season last season, but he also did have some pretty big struggles. And Andrews is always, kind of dependent, um, you know, and he has good weeks, great weeks. But I think as far as consistency goes, I think that Sam Laporta is going to be the number one guy.
They got Dalton Kincaid as the number 3 tight end
Wow, there you go.
on
Yeah.
PFF.
Hey, I love Kincaid. I mean, the season he had, Allen, and Mike, that's like another example of the situation that I just said. When Allen did not know what to do or didn't have anybody to go to, It was Kincaid, like back to back.
What
You
about
know, and
this?
his
Oh, keep
fantasy
going.
relevant. His fantasy relevance went way up last season too. I used him as hardcore trade bait this season. I used him to get McCaffrey,
That was a good
and it,
trade for
yeah,
you.
and it worked out well. So, all
Yeah.
right, now what's this board saying?
They got
Mc-
Trey McBride as the number 2 tight end.
Wow. See, I mean, this is. So who do they got Kincaid as number what? Two?
Nah, Kincaid's number 3, Sam Laporta's number 1.
Okay, so they got Laporte at one. Okay, see, I like PFF then. There we go. Because
Yeah.
you look at ESPN and they go Kelsey, Andrews, Laporta, and then taking it from a guy who's got Kittle.
Mm,
I love him. Don't get me wrong, but now I'm hearing rumors that San Francisco's looking to contract Logan Thomas, and they just drafted a rookie. So obviously they're making plans in case Kittle can't keep up. So, oh man, that's another scary situation. But what I want to get into now with you guys, I want to talk about the running back position
mm.
and the drastic change in this position that happened all over the NFL. And we'll start with one of my favorite running backs in the world. I mean, this is like the fantasy guru running back of the last 5 to 7 seasons in the NFL is Austin Eckler of the Chargers. And now he goes and he signs with Washington. He goes and signs with the Commanders. And it was nice to see that because I was worried about, how many mouths to feed. But Antonio Gibson left. So that leaves Eckler and who's their other guy? Brian Robinson Jr.
Brian Robinson, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess they're going to split. And that's going to be something to look into because if you look right now, Eckler and Robinson, I think they're like projected to score like under 200 points. And that's just not something you're used to seeing out of Eckler, but just take it from me that Austin Eckler isn't done. And I think that Washington, they always strive with a receiver friendly running back, which Austin Eckler is one of the best in the league. So I think that Eckler he'll have relevance in that offense depending on the share that he gets with Robinson. So because Robinson really proved himself at the end of last season. At the beginning of the season, he didn't do too much. It was more mediocre, but then all of a sudden, the second half of the season, he was really looking like an RB1. So
Yeah.
Eckler, Eckler is a proven go-to guy, and I think he's going to do well. It's just a matter of seeing where he falls in the snap share. So that was one of the biggest ones to me. And now the other, and not only that, they got that rookie QB Daniels now as well over there. So the quarterback situation is going to improve drastically.
Yeah,
So
speaking of Eckler, what about the Chargers picking up, the Ravens' entire, backup
yeah,
running back field?
yeah. So what is it? Gus Edwards
Gus
and
Edwards and what's his name? Let me look it up. But I was gonna say, how do you think Gus Edwards is gonna do? Because I feel like he's gonna be running back 1.
if he's healthy, he'll do well if he can stay healthy. And that was the thing is that the Chargers always did a really good job of protecting Eckler, and that was one of the reasons that he thrives so much. Is because he was good. Yeah, but then again, I'm not sure what Edwards looks like as a pass catching back. Isn't
Mm-hmm.
Edwards more of a downhill runner? More of like a bigger back, like kind of a ground and pound guy?
I feel like he's more of a ground and pound guy. I feel like you don't really see it. You haven't seen a whole lot of him. 1, because he was the backup over in
Yeah,
Baltimore, and 2, because he was hurt a lot. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. He's injury prone, and that's always something
yeah.
in fantasy you don't want to deal with.
J.K. Dobbins is the other one.
Dobbins. Yep, yep. Yeah, I think Edwards will be. I think Edwards should be number one over Dobbins if he's healthy. I think Dobbins has injury issues as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that was Baltimore's whole thing.
Yeah.
They just never really had a solid running back to carry him through the season.
Well, we can move right into this one and talk about the fact that they got Derrick Henry.
King Henry. And
King
isn't Dalvin
Henry.
Cook? Don't they got Dalvin Cook backing him up?
Is it Dalvin Cook back? I think. I don't know. You
Well,
might be
he's
right.
one of their running. Let me see. He's one of the
I
running
mean,
backs over
if
there.
if if he is, then he should be too.
Yeah.
He should. Yeah, he should be number two if he's not. But the fact
Well,
that
they got
King
that
Henry.
rookie, Justice
Yeah,
Hill.
but
So,
oh, Hill is good. Yeah, Hill, and he stayed. He's one of the only guys that
yeah.
stayed. Yeah, Hill is
And then
good.
Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah, is it Katoni or Keaton? Keaton. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Say
But
Keaton.
Barkley, I mean, dude, the fact when I saw Barkley get thrown into that offense, dude, oh my God, man. Like being a guy who really watches the AFC North like a freaking vulture, like a hawk, being a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, I was so freaking stoked that we grabbed Queen from them, and he's a part of our linebacker crew now. But dude, that offense to me is scary as hell, dude. I mean, that's a powerhouse offense, dude. It's like Houston, except for with experience. It's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. You mean Henry. But speaking of Barkley, though, how do you feel about Barkley and Philly?
Oh man, I love it. I love it because you know what? Philly switched to this like last season. It was like with DeAndre Swift, they realized that they had this running game that they didn't have to pass all the time. They didn't have to be, you know. And I mean, look at the season AJ Brown had. So it's like they were still passing, and Devontae Smith had a decent season as well. But the fact that they got Barkley there now is like, I mean, dude, they knew that scheme that they had running with Swift worked so well that to bring in a guy like Barkley is going to be nothing but beneficial. And yeah, Barkley is he's gonna have a very, very good season, I think, for them, as long as that line can, do what they did last season, keep him healthy, keep him blocking, and yeah, yeah, he's gonna do really well there. I like the fact that Barkley went over to Philly, and I love that it's gonna be a rivalry twice in a season between the Giants and Philly, So that's gonna make for just a 10 times better game to watch.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh
so
man. Yeah. Who did
yeah,
who replaced Barkley?
in New York,
Yeah.
Singletary is they're pretty much their go-to guy right now.
They just got somebody else too. I saw. Oh, I can't even type. Let me look it up. But yeah, how do you feel about Singletary? I mean,
Singletary's always done well in every offensive scheme that he's been a part of. He's been able to thrive. He's not like a crazy number producer, and they kind of just use him as they need to. But still solid RB2. Especially for the Giants, they're going to need to run the football. They're going to need to. Did you see who else they have besides Singletary? I know that there's somebody else there.
well, they got Eric Gray. I'm looking at their depth chart. It says Eric Gray, Tyrone Tracy, and Jushan Corbin. But I thought they picked up somebody.
No,
Let's
yeah,
see.
I think Singletary came over from Houston. That was who came over. Yeah.
Yeah, he
So
likes
and
that
then
cold weather.
yeah, yeah, and then when we were talking about Barkley going to Philly, and we talked about DeAndre Swift doing so well for Philly. Swift went over to Chicago, and now Chicago is a team that I really, really, really want to talk about and touch base on because holy hell, did they do a facelift on offense? They go out, they grab Caleb Williams, number one overall. 5 rounds later, they grab, or however many rounds later, they grab Ramadunze. Then they make an offseason move with Los Angeles to grab Keenan Allen, and then they go ahead and throw DeAndre Swift in the backfield. Like, I don't know about you guys and how you might feel about this situation, but I'm going to look at the Bears right now as Caleb Williams finishing in the top 10 of quarterbacks and them making a serious push to the playoffs. And I know it's only the first season and it might take some time to get some chemistry going. But I just have a really strong feeling that Chicago is just gonna, I mean, they really did well all around with drafting and trading and really playing their cards right. And I'm one of those guys who was lucky enough in the fifth round of our fantasy draft to still have Caleb Williams sitting there. And I did not think for a second with the fifth pick that I was going to even come close. And I was able to get him. And I was also able to trade for Keenan Allen. So I'm going to hope and pray that those guys have some great chemistry and can be a duo and really produce fantasy wise. Because I wouldn't have made the moves I did if I didn't have faith. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they got and what's going
You,
on over there.
you gotta have faith, faith, faith.
What do you
Yeah,
think? Yeah, what do you think about Chicago and all the moves they've
you
made? Yeah,
know,
I mean,
didn't we I feel like we saw this from Arizona a few years ago too, turn around
yeah,
and flipping out your first round quarterback, but for the first round pick at that. There's a lot of hype around Caleb Williams. I feel like you don't know until you know. They just
right.
started, OTAs or whatnot. I want to see like the first couple games, but at the
Yeah,
same time, though, I do feel, man, it's a new day. Like the flip is happening in the NFL where all the players are around the same age. They've all been playing against each other in college, so it's not much of a transition for these college players to
yeah,
come in and play against these same guys they've been
that's a
playing
great
against the
point.
past 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? Like,
That's a great point.
like you even saw with like Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. They know these guys. They're like, yeah, man,
Yeah,
I was on this guy's team, or like I played against him, or I seen him. Anyway, they know who they're playing against. It's not like they're rookies coming in, and it's a big gap where these veterans have been there, 10, 15 years. I feel like we're
right.
starting to see a new transition and like a change of guard in the NFL, like all
Yeah,
around consistently. You see it with like, Brock Bowers and tight end. But like back to the Bears though, man, like, I'm gonna watch Hard Knocks. I don't think I've
I can't
watched it in the
believe that.
past,
I can't believe that. I never have either because I haven't liked a single team they've had on there. But
right?
the Bears are, guess one of those teams that maybe it'll be worth watching. But well, yeah, like you said, I really want to see the season get started, them get through OTAs, them get through preseason, and then kind of go from there. But
Yeah, because it's not even a flip in their first quarterback. I mean, who do they have, before Justin Fields? They had freaking what's his face. I don't even know if he's still in the league. Um,
uh,
gosh, I can't even think of his name.
I can't think of it.
Yeah, he was like their first round pick a few years before, and he took them to the playoffs, and they lost because the kicker missed a field goal, and then he never got
Oh
them
wow,
back. So they've
wow.
been cycling through, but it seems like they're set up for it. From what I saw, they were like prepping Caleb Williams even before the draft, like so
Yeah, yeah. Similar to
he sh-
what Denver was doing with Knicks. Yeah,
yeah, so that's what I mean. Like it's a different day. It's a different day and age from back in the day. You can communicate with these kids. You don't even have to talk to see them. You don't even have to talk to them. You can just send them, documents, send them videos. Have someone show them around the facility virtually and all this and that. And like they have it locked in their brain. Like I remember what it was. Trevor Simeon. We had Trevor Simeon and Paxton Lynch. They were talking about how they were doing like virtual reality training with them, and that was like
wow.
back in like 2017. You know what I mean, or whenever it was. So I can only
Yeah,
imagine how
it's only gotten crazier. Yeah,
Yeah, man. Like, as soon as these kids graduated college, they knew what teams they were going to.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
they knew they were going. They've been groomed, essentially for this. So with the Bears, like they've been picking up pieces strategically to put around him that I think is going to help him show, his talents off. They have a solid running game with DeAndre Swift coming in. They have 18 million wide receivers.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I don't know. I think, and it's the NFC, NFC North or whatever it is. They're not. I mean, they're right in line with Green Bay. I feel like they're right there with Green Bay. They're right there with
Yeah,
Minnesota. Like that whole division is like all starting over right now, and
yeah,
they got a chance to go off and be, maybe he'll be the CJ Stroud of this, this draft class.
That would be really interesting to see, but he definitely has the ability to do it. And that's like another guy that I wanted to get into since we're talking about guys that were groomed. And like you watched Sean Payton at the draft and you saw the videos like around the Bo Nix pick. They have it was Sean Payton wanted him from square one, and he's been groomed. I'm sure he's already familiar with the system going into OTAs. And I think that Peyton thinks that he's going to be the difference maker coming into Denver this season. And I think he's actually going to do really well. So Nix was another guy that I wanted to talk about because it's just like, as far as the backfield goes with Williams and Pirine, that's a good duo, man. Like those guys can run the ball. They proved it last season. And even with Wilson stepping up and doing what he did last season, I think Knicks can only do better. And the defense is always strong. So I think Denver's poised to have a strong season and really be a contender in their division as far as it goes. But I wanted to I wanted to continue talking about the running back situation and how they kind of switched around because this was like we talked about how like this class coming up was really quarterback and wide receiver strong, and these guys all have college chemistry and they know each other from college. But the one similarity that these teams have mostly is the fact that they have veteran running backs, behind them that have changed teams because there wasn't a very strong running back class. So
Mm-hmm.
we watched, when we just talked about Green Bay, so I'll talk about Jacobs going to Green Bay, and then they send Aaron Jones over to Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Jacobs, who, I mean, God, dude, what a beast. And what he's done in Vegas, I mean, that guy has number one running back capabilities. And I mean, you watch what Green Bay does with the running game and Aaron
Mm-hmm.
Jones, the season he had last, even with the troubles that they had with injury and everything else, they still have, very strong running game. So I think Jacobs thrives in that offense. I think great fantasy relevance for him in Green Bay. And same with Aaron Jones in Minnesota. I think that Aaron Jones can be a great run pass option, a great guy to just check down to, a great guy to, just give the ball to on first down. And when your receivers like Addison and Jefferson are tired from running the routes that they do as well as they do and as hard as they do, he's going to be a good guy to break up some of that monotony. So, and then not only that, man, now you got this McCarthy coming in there as a rookie QB. And honestly, I think as far as all the rookie quarterbacks go that were drafted, that McCarthy is set up with the most weapons on offense to be able to just go in there and just have talent around you everywhere. To have Justin Jefferson, to have Jordan Addison, to have Aaron Jones, to have, TJ Hawkinson. Like, oh my God, man. I mean, this rookie QB must be going in there thinking to himself, like, all right, I got a lot to prove, and I am set up with the best possible situation of pretty much anybody coming up in this draft class. I'm going to take advantage. I'm going to do it. I'm going to show people and use that as a game changer opportunity because, I mean, it really don't get much better than what you got around you on offense there, McCarthy. So I'm looking forward to big things out of you and some fantasy relevance. I think he's going to be one of those guys to seriously watch.
Yeah, what about I mean, I don't know if I'm jumping over. What about Jaden Daniels? I feel like we haven't given him his respect.
Oh my God. I mean, that's exactly what he gets is respect. Jeezo, Schmeezo. Come on. I mean, we knew he was going to go, top, and he did. And
Mm-hmm.
I like where he fell as far as it goes. And to have what he has around him as well. I mean, this is one of those draft classes where you saw it the whole way up, man. I mean, it was QB, QB, QB. And the only people that snuck in between were, the
Marvin Harrison and Brock Bowers.
the number one talked about wide receiving prospect of the last however many years. And the best tight end. So I mean, I don't expect anything but him to just go in there and do what he does best, which is ball, dude. That kid's a baller, dude. And it's going to be so fun to watch. And that's another reason is like, this season, I always take fantasy so seriously, but the fact that we have all these new rookies and all these new positions, it's going to make it so fun to watch and so fun to watch unfold and to see who's relevant or who's going to be left on the wire and who's going to be battling over that. It's going to be so fun over the first couple weeks of the season to watch that drop and to see
Mm-hmm.
what happens, man. I'm just so pumped. What are you saying?
Yeah, looks like we got
No, not yet.
a
See, we
question
got
in from Cody Anderson. Thanks for watching, man.
yeah,
It
Cody.
says Dynasty 10 team. And it's kind of off track, but I mean, we love questions, so bring them and come on and
Yeah,
talk. Come on
bring
and
them
chat
on.
with us too. I'll send you the link, if you want to join us. But it says Dynasty 10 team. Would you trade Purdy, I guess that's T Higgins, and a
Yeah,
25 first for CJ Stroud and a super flex? So I'm guessing that's a it's a super flex, two quarterback league.
yeah, absolutely. Oh man, you know what? Purdy and T. Higgins are two of those guys that sit right on the cusp for me. And as far as two guys at quarterback go that I would love to trade for in a super flex, it would be Stroud or Richardson. So, I mean, this is definitely on you, but in that situation, I mean, can you tell me maybe who else you have at the wide receiver position?
Right.
Before is he your wide receiver one? Cody, T. Higgins, or do you have someone better?
I'd imagine that's probably not his wide receiver one if he's trading him away, but I
Yeah,
mean,
in a
he's.
10 team league, I wouldn't think so either. But I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, dude, if you're sitting with like Puka or AJ Brown or like anybody
Okay,
above T, yeah, then
he has some hitters, so yeah,
oh
he's
my
good.
God, dude,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's done.
you make that trade, my dude, make that
Yeah,
trade for
I
sure.
think you need him. You almost need him. You're
Yeah,
doing these guys a
yeah,
disservice, not having them. Let me get some of those
absolutely,
receivers, man. I need receivers
yeah.
and running backs.
I'll take Pittman right now. I'll
Oh,
give you
didn't I give you Pittman?
Devontae.
I,
No, you get that was
who did I
the
trade? Oh
Raven
yeah,
season.
I wasn't even thinking, man. I was just like, oh, I think I need picks. I was learning how it goes with this dynasty draft, but it was cool
Yeah,
because at the same time too, though, now I see, like it's a long haul. You know what I mean? Like, so like,
absolutely. It's all
you
about
know,
longevity.
oh man, yeah. So I can only imagine something like this. Do you? Because I mean, in 25, you have, oh man, what's his name coming out of CU? He's gonna be a top five receiver or cornerback.
Uh,
Um,
I'm
you're
not.
gonna have a
I'm.
solid class coming in next season. So
Oh
do
yeah,
you?
yeah. And I mean, come on, man, Stroud. That man, what, 4,100 passing yards,
True.
22 touchdowns. I mean, playoffs first year there. No, I'm not going to jinx him by saying the I word, but
Yeah, and he's young. It's his second season. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly,
yeah, you
exactly.
definitely run with it. Yeah, Travis Hunter. So I mean, like, but granted, he's probably gonna be playing more of a cornerback. But I feel like next year is gonna be, you're gonna see a lot of position players coming out. In the top part of the draft, especially after we just had this, heavy quarterback draft. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know,
absolutely.
like looking at it from a fantasy or a dynasty, standpoint, like gosh, like it depends. But this team is loaded, so yeah, definitely you get
Yeah. Oh,
Stroud
yeah.
and you push it
And
over.
having Stroud being a second season guy, yeah, yeah. That's why I said either him or Richardson would be guys that I would trade for because, longevity, man. You want to go
Yeah.
for who you're going to utilize for long seasons, who's looking at signing long-term deals, and these are those guys. So
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, for sure, make that trade. Yeah. Sorry, I had to change angles on you guys. My phone is what I'm
You're good.
operating with, and it's gonna die, so I had to plug in.
You are good, man. Definitely.
And
Thank
then
you, Cody. Thank you. Yeah. So
I appreciate you, bud. And then I would have used that as a segue. since we're talking about Stroud, to talk about another running back that made a jump from an RB1 in Cincinnati and having such a big impact over the last several years as a Bengal, and now going over to the Texans, and that's Joe Mixon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, you put Mixon in the mix with Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Noah Brown, who's that? You know
Who's
what?
the tight end? They just
That
re-signed the tight end?
that's what I was just about to ask you, bro. I was just
Yeah.
about to ask you who their tight end is.
Man, Texans got a squad.
I know, and it's scary. But it's, sometimes it's guys like that and teams like that that have this kind of squad where the chemistry don't fall into place. But they had the chemistry last season. They're really only adding talent. So it's
Man, but
hard
the
to see it
AFC
going the wrong
South,
way.
the AFC
It's,
South,
yeah,
man, they're
I know.
sneaky good.
I know. And that's why it's just, they're poised for greatness over there, man.
Dalton
So,
Schultz.
oh, yeah. So Schultz, yeah.
Schultz was getting me points last season at the end of the season, man.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, he was scoring points when he was the Cowboy, too, right? He was a Cowboy, too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he was scoring points in Dallas, too. So, yeah, it's, I mean, all around a pretty heavy offense, dude. Pretty heavy offense. And they got a really good defense as well. So we're talking
Yeah,
about
man.
well-rounded. And I think Mixon goes in there as a 3-down back. And I think that he'll do better for you as a Texan than he did as a Bengal. And that's saying a lot, but I think it's true. I just think it's true. I think they knew what they were looking for in Mixon. I think they knew who they wanted. And I think they watched him over Cincy for the last couple seasons and they knew what they were getting out of him. And, that's it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Joe Mixon to Houston is a big difference maker. Big difference maker, man.
It's so crazy, man, to see these guys, these running back, and I guess we see it every few years. They get flushed out. I feel like, but we're seeing like seasoned veterans. Guys that when you think of a team, you think of the Bengals, you think of Joe Mixon. You like see him. I
Right.
see him on their helmet. You know what I mean? Like same thing, like
Right.
Tennessee. New York. You think of these guys that Granted, yeah. Dallas got rid of Ezekiel. They have Ezekiel back. That's the
Yeah.
crazy thing
Yeah.
of it all. All these guys
Uh-huh.
switching teams, and Ezekiel's a
Coming full
cowboy. Like,
circle. Yeah. He went from the Pats back. Yeah.
what do you think
Yep.
about that?
You know what, man? Get him where you fit in. You know what I mean? I mean, he did pretty well as a Patriot, but I think Ramondre is the man up there and they really like him. So I don't think that they had a problem sending him back to where he came from, and I don't think Dallas has any problem taking him back because they don't have Tony Pollard anymore. Tony Pollard is gone. So why not? I mean, he was the man before Tony Pollard was. Tony Pollard, I mean, had a better season with Zeke with him than he did on his own. And then, we were looking at guys like Deuce Vaughn and but now that Zeke's back in the mix, I mean, what better guy to go with than the guy who knows your playbook?
Mm-hmm.
He knows your schemes. He knows everything about that offense in and out. He was the 3-down back and the starter there for what, 4 or 5 seasons?
Zeke being a starter in Dallas, is he an RB1 or RB2 or
He'll be
RB3?
he'll be RB1.
You
He'll be
think?
RB1. Yeah, because it's just him and Deuce Vaughn and who else?
Dowdle, Diddle. No, I'm saying his fantasy relevancy. Are you picking up Zeke if you see
Oh.
him? If you see Zeke on the waivers, are you picking him up and throwing him in?
I would definitely consider him a bench stash and someone to watch. Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Because
What about
the way they
go
use
ahead.
him in the way they use him in the red zone alone is enough to give him flex radar for me. You know.
Okay. What about Dak?
What about Dak?
Yeah.
Man,
QB1, QB2.
I mean, dude, I like Dak, and I like the chemistry he has with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb was wide receiver 1 last season. The man was just on fire, could not be stopped, catch after catch. Every week you played a team that had CeeDee Lamb on them, you thought to yourself, mother, like I know my team's got to put up big because he's going to drop a 40 burger plus,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to need to make those up somewhere else. So as far as Dak goes, I don't know. I think he'll be a top 10
Well, I mean,
quarterback,
y-
but no, I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
it's a it's a
I'm not
contract
drafting him.
season.
Yeah, I'm
Contract
not.
season for Dak and CD Lamb.
Yeah, I think I have a pretty good feeling that they'll get re-signed just because, you know, guys who own organizations like Jerry Jones are kind of guys like Kraft who have, you know, the same coaches for long periods of times, the same players. They get a rapport going. They don't like to make a lot of serious changes. They like to put faith in the guys that they have for long periods of time. So I think that if Dak and CD Lamb have a season like they did last, they'll have no problem signing an extension. Now, it might only be a 2-year extension, not a 4-year extension, but that's okay. At least that's guaranteed playing time, that's guaranteed money, and that's a couple more seasons of fantasy relevance. So,
Right? You
yeah.
think Eagles run away with that division?
I do, yeah. I do. I just think that Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, now you got fuck Barkley in the mix, and Devontae Smith is just a little maniac. I love him. I think they got such a strong defense, Hassan Reddick, and I just think that yeah, they'll be it'll be Dallas and Philly battling for that number one position, but I don't think Philly will have any problem staying up there
Yeah,
for
I feel
sure.
you there because like who on Philly is like their top players? Who are you not taking if you have the chance and throwing them on your starting lineup as soon as you get them?
Who
Maybe Devontae Smith. Maybe you're thinking about starting them or not. Everybody else, you're starting those guys.
They're guaranteed, yeah. And I mean, even Devontae Smith for me is a weekly starter,
Yeah, yeah, that's
especially
crazy.
especially in deep leagues, and he just really is. That's just how it is. I mean, even Dallas Goddard is a weekly starting tight end for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I put him, closer to like the bottom half of the top 10, but like, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
but he's still
Yeah,
in there.
yeah, you. I don't think there's many I would be like, nah, I'll put them in over him,
Yeah,
for sure.
I call him Dally God.
D God.
Dally God. Yeah,
Yeah,
anytime I had an opportunity to pick him up in a draft, I had no problem doing it. He's
shoot,
one
let
of those
me.
guys where if you don't get an early round tight end, that there's no problem taking him in the back half.
What about Russell Wilson?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. This is a really heavy question for a diehard Pittsburgh Steeler fan, and it's hard for me, dude. It's hard because I honestly think that the way that we play football, Justin Fields is more well equipped to handle the type of offense that we have, especially with a deep threat like Pickens. And, we just got rid of Allen Robinson. Um, we got rid of Deontay Johnson. We got Quez Watkins now came over from Philly. We got Kayvon Austin third. And then you still have Najee and you still have Jalen Warren, who were a dynamic duo that actually got their shit together to put together a great backfield. And now if you add to that Cordero Patterson,
Hmm.
who can make a difference in RPOs and on special teams. Then we add Queen on defense as a new linebacker. I just think Fields is the guy. I know he doesn't have the experience, and I know he didn't put up the way he was supposed to when he got put in this position in Chicago. But I feel like if you would put him in the scheme in Chicago now with the team that you put around Caleb Williams, it would be a different story, you know? But I want to have faith in Russ. I watched what he did all those years in Seattle. And, just because, dude, you have a little struggle on one team, you have some disagreements with the coach makes you look like a scapegoat, kills all your motivation to want to do anything to help that team, but you still go out there and put your body on the line the way he did, the way he scrambled at the end of last season, the way that he went out of his way to make plays and to, make shit happen, shows me that he's not some baby back bitch quitter.
That's
He's a
true,
guy,
but
he's a guy that he cares, man. He loves football,
he was late
and
on a lot of routes.
well, yeah, and that's
He
another
missed
thing
a
too.
lot of throws.
And he's not the best in the red zone either, and we all
Yeah.
know that. But you got a coach like Mike Tomlin now, dude, and I think a guy like Russ can learn a lot from a coach like Tomlin, man.
But I mean, they got Justin Fields right after they got Russ. Have you seen
I
anything
I
like
I,
that?
I know, and I think that's the reason that dude, I just think Fields is going to be the guy.
He has
You
to be
know,
the guy. He's the guy. One, Russ's contract won't remain cheap for long. He's only getting older.
yeah, it's just
He's
one
getting a
season.
lot older than Fields. And, it's Pittsburgh. You guys don't expect to be drafting a quarterback. Kenny Pickett was a fluke deal because you're scrambling after, Roethlisberger left. But, like, you guys don't expect to
Exactly.
be drafting a quarterback. And in which case, even if Russ does work out, you still have Fields that you can groom along right behind him.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think either way, we're poised to succeed.
Yeah, I mean they've proven they'll ride with the quarterback. Look how long they threw Kenny Pickett out there. They put him out there until
Exactly.
they couldn't put him out there. So like,
Exactly.
they I don't like you said it's Tomlin. He knows how to like he's what been there for what like 14, 15 years,
It's
forever.
it's been I think he's let's see. I think it's more than that. But yeah, he's
Probably
been there. Yeah.
probably. Yeah, man. I mean, he's been there since the bus was there. You know what I mean? Like, so he knows how to. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
They
I
know what
think
they're
he's
doing
been
over there.
there. Yeah, I think he's been there about 18 to 20 seasons now.
Pretty crazy. What's up,
Yeah.
Max? But I feel like, and then like it's the AFC North, man. You gotta worry about
That's
Baltimore
it.
every
That's what I'm
year.
saying. What up,
You
Zach?
gotta you got Deshaun Watson coming back to the Browns.
Yep.
Cincinnati. I mean, or yeah, Cincinnati,
Yeah.
man. They're
You
just
got
like
Burrow,
coming
fucking,
back off of injury.
Lamar,
Like
yeah. They're stacked. They're ready to go. And yeah, I mean, it is. AFC North is the toughest division in the AFC, hands down.
I don't know about that. AFC West pretty tough, man.
No, no. I'm talking talent. I'm talking battle. I'm talking,
What? What?
yeah.
We have the best coaches. Andy
I'll fight
Reid.
you on that. I'll
Since
fight you
ever
on this
since
all
ever
day.
since what's his face just got fired from
It's just
Patriots.
because you got one team in your division that's won 3 Super Bowls. What else?
Harbaugh. We got Harbaugh. He's a team builder.
Broncos.
Watch. He's about to show you. He can build a team, man. And then you got Sean Payton over here in Denver. He he has
I,
something to prove. So
he's
he
got
has
his
to
boy
prove
now
it.
too. He's got his boy now too. He's hyped on Knicks. He's
Yeah.
hyped on him.
And then you got Vegas. I mean, Vegas just finds ways to be decent.
Yeah,
They're in
absolutely.
it to
They
win
do.
it. I don't know. I feel like AFC West would dominate the AFC North straight up.
Yeah, you really think
We did.
that?
The Chiefs beat the Ravens.
Well, yeah, I guess that's you know.
And the Bills.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, I don't want
yeah.
to talk about the
That's
Bills.
over
I
there in the
don't care.
East.
I don't care about the Bills.
So how do you feel
I
about the
think
Bills,
I think
man?
that I think they're overhyped all day long. I think that Josh Allen's a great quarterback, but other than that, I mean, I really
Is
don't.
he a number one without Stephon Diggs?
I mean, he's top three. He's top three.
He's top three without Stephon Diggs?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah. Cause,
so
cause,
who?
cause, Sha- cause Shakir, is that his
Oh, that
name?
receiver they just drafted?
No. He's been there. He's one of
Uh,
the guys that have been there. And then who else? Oh yeah, and Kincaid, dude.
who are
And
you
you still
putting
got Cook.
over
And
Josh
you still
Allen?
got Cook. Who am I? Lamar,
Okay. And
Stroud,
Pat Mahomes.
Jalen Hurts. I don't even know if I
Yeah,
put
see, you said
Pat
he was top three.
over him.
You just named
I
you just named three
Yeah,
quarterbacks off rip.
no, he's in that three.
He's in that three with Lamar
Jay,
Jackson,
Jalen.
Jalen Hurts, CJ
Okay,
Stroud.
so he'd be four.
He'd be four. So you put him over Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
The
would take
first
Josh
five.
Allen before Pat Mahomes.
over in fantasy, dude. You know how horrible Mahomes was as a fantasy quarterback last season? He was 14th.
Yeah, he was up and down. He was a bit up
He
and
was
down. Let's see where
14th, dude.
let's
Allen
see
at
where they
least
ranked
had
them.
big weeks.
True. All right, I'll give you that. Let me see.
He got him to the Super Bowl, but as far as fantasy relevance goes, Mahomes is not helping your fantasy team week to week. He's scoring an average of 17 points.
All right, let's see where they got him at. Shoot, they got Josh Allen as QB1
I told
in
you
PFF.
he's up there.
Pat
I would
Mahomes QB2.
Yeah, no, not for me.
Jalen Hurts.
Hurts and Jackson, I think, are, dude, the way that they run the football, it just says it all, man. There's too much points to that there.
Do you think Jackson's running falls off though with King Henry over there?
On,
It's early. Who knows?
and there's always that situation where it's like, the pass goes wrong. That's when he runs, I'm sure that there'll be plenty of running scheme and running plays, but I still think he gets his opportunities. He's one of those impromptu guys that, just waits for his opportunity to strike him. When he does, it's like he has almost 100-yard rushing game as a QB with like 3 or 4 touchdowns. It's unreal.
Yeah. And I mean,
Hurts
Mark
the same
Andrews will
way.
be back. Zay Flowers will have a year under his belt,
Yes, yes. And that's another guy I want to watch close too.
Mm-hmm.
See if he stays relevant.
They got a pretty borderline wide receiver core, but I do like Zay Flowers.
Yeah. I agree with you 100% on that. I think that they could add some top tier talent to help them out,
Mm-hmm.
but I still think that it's workable.
Yeah, like who do you add though? Like where do you go? Honestly, like
Oh man, if I were them, I'd be looking for guys like Ayuk, guys like Debo. I'd be looking for,
they're not
maybe
going anywhere, bro. Why are you gonna leave San Francisco
they're not.
where
That's
you're
the whole thing.
winning? You're
That's
winning
why
with
that,
what you got to
that's
go
why
somewhere
when
else is
that's
not.
why yeah, when there was all that talk about, oh man, Pittsburgh's gonna get either Ayuk or Samuels, I was like, how much you want to bet?
Yeah,
How
they're
much you
not
want to bet?
leaving.
I was
They're
like,
like,
dude,
dude, we're winning with Brock Purdy. We can't lose
they're Super Bowl contenders, dude. They're not gonna change shit up.
with Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
It doesn't even care. You can go somewhere with Tom Brady. They're still not going to do better than the 49ers are doing.
Absolutely. I agree. Well, I hate to cut this short, but I got my kiddos here, and
Yes,
we've got an
sir.
hour under our belt with a good show. And
Hmm.
I think we pick up next week here where we left off, and we'll have a good start to the season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was a good one, man. Thank you
Yeah.
guys for joining us. Shout
Everybody who
out
asked
to
questions, thank you very
yeah,
much. Really
Cody
appreciate
and
it.
Max.
Yeah, and shout out, hey guys, Cash App is something we all use to send money to our fantasy commissioners, to send money back and forth after, your homie bought pizza and you owe them that night over Venmo. So guys, please take a look at that code on the commercial. Take advantage of the free dollars on
On the
Cash App.
bottom.
We're the Shady Sports Network, man. We love you guys. We cover any football aspect that you can. And Sed's involved in a lot more than I am, but he lets me do
Hmm.
my fantasy thing. And we're here to be here for you guys, to get you one step closer to that championship, help you with your roster, the waiver throughout the season. But we're going to get at least a show in a week until the season starts, maybe 2 a week once the season starts. And we're just here because we love this as much as you guys do. We know what it's like to be obsessed and want that championship. And we're just here to help you, man.
Yep. Like he said, couldn't have said it better. Thank you guys for watching us, man, here on Shady Sports. Catch us every Tuesday. We'll be doing these way too early episodes, ramping up into the season as you get closer to your drafts. Hopefully we'll bring you good tips, show us your teams, bring us, what you have, what you're looking at, and we'll see, we're not the experts, but like you said, we got the passion for this. So catch us on Shady Sports every Tuesday, and then as we get closer, we'll ramp it into more. And if you feel free to reach out to us as well. You can catch us on social media. Yeah, man. It's been fun. It's been real, guys. Have a great night.
Appreciate
I'm the
y'all.
game picture.